Welcome to part 2 of how your nervous system affects your manifestations and creations. Let's have a look at the flight style defense mechanism. So remember, when we're talking about nervous systems and defense mechanisms, we're always talking about how your unconscious mind is receiving information and interpreting it, whether you are safe or not, because our nervous system responds to either thriving or surviving. And when we're in survival mode, our brain is like constantly assessing, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And if I'm not safe, that's when this stuff kicks in. When we have regulated nervous system, this is where we can switch to our thriving states. And I personally believe, as we're shifting and evolving with our consciousness, we need to be able to transcend our defense mechanisms and come out of this survival mode and have this deep, intimate relationship with how our body's communicating to us, with how we're receiving our, external life experiences, to be able to come into regulation so we can create a thriving state of being. Because when I think about the 5D earth, 5D communities, 5D way of living, 5D way of doing business, is that we're so much more heart-centered and we're living from our heart, we're connecting from our heart, and our natural states are love. And to do that, we have to get out of this nervous system regulation where we're like, are we safe? Are you safe? Do I trust you? And bring safety and regulation back, because that's where our power is, and that brings us back into our heart consciousness, which is fifth dimensional consciousness. So let's look at it. Flight defense mechanism. Essentially, this is an obsessive compulsive defense mechanism. Welcome to all the human doings on the planet. And if you love to hustle, you could potentially have a dysregulated flight defense mechanism. I know for me, I literally on the high, I'm flight anonymous. Because as we go through it, some of these tells, this was my life, and this guy was one of the biggest one that was causing me to have all kinds of chaos and craziness in my manifestation. And particularly when I started to create consistency and stability in my world, because it felt so foreign to this guy, the boredom that I would feel, it was mind numbing. And having to actually sit with it and be still long enough for my nervous system to calibrate from up here to down here was painful. It was literally like watching paint dry at times. However, the benefit, and now being 2 years on this journey and really learning how to regulate this, I can't even begin to tell you how much more peace and serenity and calmness there is in my life. And I'm so grateful for taking the journey. But there's a scene in Suits, if any of you watch Suits, and Harvey Specter's talking about why he hired Mike or something like that. But he's talking about people like to live here, and me, I like to live up here. And honestly, when this guy was running my life and it was all happening unconsciously, this was me. Unless I was living up here, I was bored. And as soon as I started to come down to any resemblance of normal, this would kick in and be like, oh my God, this doesn't feel safe. And it would throw me back to what was familiar, which was up here. So I would always be living on the edge financially, living on the edge with time, pushing my body to literally burn out to the point where my adrenals gave up on me. So this guy, if you've got any of those sorts of things going on, or you tend to live that way, I would invite you to have a look at this or really listen to some of the tells so you can catch yourself before you end up in burnout town or breaking. So essentially, when this one is healthy, when it's regulated, it is amazing. It is queen or king of get shit done. And you'll have it also gives you the ability to, if you know that by having the last word, you're not going to get anywhere with it, this guy gives you the opportunity to go, you know what? I'm just going to walk away. I don't need to be involved. There's nothing within me that says I've got to have the last word in it. You can just healthily leave situations that aren't serving you. Also, it allows you, as I said, to get shit done. It gives you the know-how. This guy is so good at finding answers and finding solutions when it's healthy. And it also gives you the perseverance and resilience to follow through and get the things done. Regulated, it's amazing. It's definitely one that you want in your pocket. Now, when this guy gets dysregulated, here are some of the tells. And again, remember, dysregulation is about catching your nervous system feeling unsafe before the horse is bolted, and you're left in a space of complete nervous system hijacking. And when this one becomes completely dysregulated, you'll literally feel numb. It's like you've been cut off from the neck and everything below is numb. And it's like you're in your life, but you're observing your life, and you can see yourself going through the motions, and you're great at going through the motions, but you don't feel anything. So that's the point you want to really avoid getting to. And here are some of the tells to help you avoid getting to that point. So the first thing that comes up is OCD. If you find yourself being a little bit obsessive compulsive, you just got to like straighten the edges up perfect, or, with the ice cream, this used to be being like, make sure the ice cream is like it's level all the way along. Otherwise I've got to go again before you've eaten the whole ice cream. Or like even numbers, when you're filling up the petrol and you've got to have it's got to be on the exact dollar or a certain number. These are all the little OCD tells. Or you've got to, I've got to do things in certain numbers or certain patterns. And if you get out of that pattern, it feels so foreign. That is a big tell that your nervous system is being dysregulated in flight. Also really common with this guy, panicky, rushing, and worrying. So those people that are always going from like place to place, they're always running late, they're always in a hurry, or even just the urge of, I've got to get there. And what I mean by I've got to get there is you've got to get to a certain level of business for you to feel safe, to have made it, to relax. And this is all flight defense mechanism dysregulation. So if you find yourself with any of those, like rush to get anywhere, whether it be physical place, whether it be somewhere in business, whether it be a certain commitment within a relationship, whatever it is, big telltale to have a look at this guy. This next one, again, outrunning pain to as far as addiction. So again, flight defense mechanism is often motivated by whatever it was I've experienced. I never want to experience that again. So I'm going to move as fast as I can in whatever direction I can towards this new thing that's going to promise me I never have to experience that again. But what happens when that's not dealt with, what's underneath that, the nervous system just keeps running to as far as addiction. Now, addiction could be dopamine addiction to your phone, it could be food addiction, it could be substance addiction, it could be behavioral addiction, sex addiction. Any form of addiction is this energy not having a place to go and not being regulated. Then you've got drivenless, adrenaline junkie. Oh my God. My whole life was literally about finding that next thrill. Like, I love jumping out of planes. I used to be a professional water skier. It was so fun to throw myself nearly 100 kilometers an hour at a ramp into the air. Like, unless my adrenaline was pumping, I didn't feel alive. And as soon as normality started to happen, I was bored. And whether I went deliberately, intently went looking for that next thrill, or found some drama to get involved in, that was all this energy looking for that stimulation again. Then you've got busyholic. Business owners, this is a huge one. You find yourself being really busy doing all the things, but the things that you actually need to do to get to where you want to be, this is this energy at its best. And then you've also got then it goes as far as mood disorders, micromanaging, as far as bipolar, ADD, and also left brain dissociation. So left brain dissociation was what I was talking about earlier. That's where you literally go numb. You're still going through all the motions, you're still getting all the stuff done, but you've got no emotional connection to it. It's like somebody's literally got the dimmer switch and turned it down, and this energy will literally run until you hit burnout. This is why it's so important that if you can catch it at any other of the little tells, to bring the nervous system regulation back. Now, where the real work in healing this happens is obviously back in childhood with the original trauma that created it, and the belief underpinning it all is that perfection will have me be safe and have me be lovable. So when that gets resolved, it's literally like pulling the weeds out of this one, like at the roots. And in terms of how to regulate, so the first thing, the biggest thing for these guys is to literally stop. just stop. And it's gonna feel so foreign. The inner critic's gonna come up and be like, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. Stop. Stop and breathe. And let yourself be still. And then I find when I get into this space and I've gone to that point beyond where I'm able to catch it and I've had like the horses bolted experience and I'm completely numb, if I go and get some body work done. So massage I find is amazing for bringing sensation back into my body and having me come back into my body. Even like yoga, movement, anything that's going to connect you. I've also heard quite effective having cold plunge pools. I'm not into cold water, but if you like that kind of stuff, it will definitely bring you right back into your body. Even like a warm bath with essential oils, like something that's going to bring presence and attention back to stillness and having you feel through your senses. And obviously, if the thing that's had you get there, if you can delegate a lot of stuff to take that pressure off you, to bring the regulation back, go ahead and do it. Because if this is left unchecked, it leads to burnout, and there is nothing worse getting to that point where you can't do anything. So this, my friends, this is flight in a nutshell. So in its best form, you're able to get shit done. Like, this is the king and queen of getting things done. It's that energy that gets things moving. However, if you find yourself in the tells where it becomes dysregulated and you're going like beyond that other phase where you can't sit still, you're a bit panicky and rushing, and you've got that like addiction to the next, and you're busyaholic and you're chasing the next thrill, then I really invite you to have a look at this one and just stop and bring some stillness and calmness back into your life. Because if this one is left unchecked, that unconscious energy, that nervous system energy that's creating over here that you don't realize, that's the drama stuff, that's the cat getting hit by a car, that's the leaving everything to the last minute energy, which makes what you're moving forward into and manifesting your dreams and desires, that's what's creating that like polarity between the two. So I hope that gives you some insights into some of the things that might be going on if this one is dysregulated. And when you get it under control, this is putting the power back in your hands for your creations and your manifestations.